Okay, so believe it or not, we only have 2 more weeks after this. And so this is week 5, and everybody should turn in their lit reviews. And if for some reason, you need, I don't know, an extra day maybe, I'm gonna look at them on Saturday, but we're gonna edit them together, you know. Um, so the second half of this evening, the second half of next week, and if we have any left, the second half of our final class will finish editing. But so everybody should have a good edited version of their lit review for their final paper, because we're going to do it together. The rest of the paper you should be able to do on your own or with your partner. But let's just talk about what we need to accomplish next week and the final week. So for next week, well, tonight we're going to talk about the model, the PowerPoint, what goes into a poster. So and so we're going to go over everything else that you need to know to complete your assignments tonight. And that so that next week we could have some fun with titles, acronyms. We can kind of answer any questions about the rest of your paper, and we can edit the rest of your lit reviews. The final week, there is a Dropbox for your final paper, which includes the lit review, but everything on your paper outline that I uploaded, we're going to look at that. But yeah, it's your complete paper, which also includes your lit review as part of it. The other thing, there's a Dropbox for it's poster PowerPoint. So let me kind of explain that. During semesters where we have a dinner at the end of the semester, or some kind of gathering for the students, we do trifold posters so that other students can see your posters. But when we don't have a gathering, like in the summer, I just let you hand in a PowerPoint. It's the same thing, because if you were going to create a physical poster, you would make PowerPoints, print them out, and glue them to the poster board. So this just skips that process. You don't have to print anything out. You don't have to have a poster board. You can simply hand in a PowerPoint, and you're good to go. So you're going to hand in 2 things week after next. You're going to hand in your final paper, and you're going to hand in a PowerPoint. The PowerPoint, you don't have to do anything new. You can cut and paste from your final paper into the PowerPoint. You can add some graphics or something like that, but there's nothing new to the PowerPoint. The hardest thing is picking out what's important, because you just want to pick out key points and put them in the PowerPoint. But in a different video, I'm going to give instructions and explanations for what goes into both the PowerPoint or a poster presentation, either one. So you'll know exactly what to include for that. Let's see what else. Yeah, I think that's about it for assignments, really. For next week, you don't have to have this completed, but I want you to be thinking about your model. And so what's going to go into your model? Like, for instance, what are the different steps? You don't have to put it on a computer. You could draw it on a piece of paper. What's the graphical representation of your model? So let's say you have, it could be as simple as a flow chart, like the different steps. Let's say you have an 8-week counseling program to treat whatever disorder you're working with. Maybe you have an 8-week educational program if you're going to teach counselors something. But what are you going to do for those 8 weeks? You know, so it could be as simple as a flow chart, but some people can get creative. So let me give you some examples. One person made a tree that represents growth. And as the tree, as you go up the tree and the branches, they had different components of their model. So for instance, maybe they started off with person-centered, then, so that would be the first 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks, they might have incorporated dealing with irrational thoughts. So they might have used CBT, REBT. Then they might have gotten into some type of, something new, like, maybe mindfulness. Then maybe they got into some kind of existential search for meaning or purpose. And then they wrapped it up with kind of goals and future plans, and how are you going to incorporate all of this into your life? And, so that could be represented in multiple ways. Some people made an actual map. One person based it on like the Lord of the Rings Middle Earth map and the different areas of the map, and drew a map. Sometimes they try to make whatever graphical representation, they want it to be connected to their topic. So, or at least the acronym. So one person was dealing with trans clients, and they called their model the transit model, and they used a map of the New York subway station, and each stop was a different therapeutic intervention, and it was also kind of like a journey. One person was working with the military, and they used, some symbol from the military. So you can be creative. Some people use circles, interconnected circles. But you can be creative with whatever graphical representation you want to do. And what we're going to do is you can draw it on a piece of paper, and then everybody next week's going to take a turn and draw what they have on the board, and then we're going to help you refine it. The whole class is going to give you ideas and help you refine your model. So that's what you bring next week. You can hand draw it, handwrite it on a piece of paper, and try to come up with a working title for your final paper and your model with kind of an acronym. But we're also going to help you refine your acronyms as well. All right, questions on that? Okay, so it doesn't have to be perfect. We'll work on it together next week. And you'll be working on your final paper and your PowerPoint. All right, and then the week after next, all we're going to do is you're going to share your final papers with the class. If you want, you can share slides from your PowerPoint with the class. You could just talk. if you want to. It's really up to you. I think the only problem we've run into when we've done this is people who use a PowerPoint want to share every slide. They don't want to miss any slide. They put work into that PowerPoint. But, we do want to complete that class in about 2 hours. So, your presentation, really 10, 15 minutes at the most. It could be less than that. I just want you to kind of share what you've discovered, what you've created with the class. So if you use a PowerPoint, you don't have to read every single word, keep it to 10 minutes or so. All right. So it's a presentation, but it's also fairly casual. All right. Yeah, that's what we're going to do our last week. If we're done with the edits, which hopefully we will be, we'll just have more time for presentations. If we don't get to edit your lit review by the end of next week, for some reason, I think we will, but for some reason, you can still make the corrections in that final paper and hand it in after that last class. If we have to edit it in that last class, that's fine. But I think we'll get them all done by next week. All right. So that's our goals. It sounds like a lot, but it's really not. The lit review was the hardest part of this. All right, let me stop this one.